Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us. Good Sunday morning to you, April the 30th, last day in April. And we're excited to be here every Sunday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team Remax Advantage Plus. Got a great show today, and you are always welcome to join us with questions, comments, thoughts, feedback. A lot to talk about today. Excited in studio. Joining us is our friend, partner, owner of Nordy Photography. Wonderful guy, Adam McIntyre Barn, is here with us today to talk all things photography. Busy, a lot of activity for him and his company. And again, you're welcome to join our conversation at any point, wherever you're catching us: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Mike, you're a Twitter guy, aren't you?
Absolutely not, actually. I don't even think I have a Twitter account.
Adam, do you have a preferred platform?
Instagram, maybe.
Instagram, all right. Well, we do appreciate you joining us. It's going to be a fun show, and we're going live on Love 105 FM. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in. Sunday morning, April 30th, 2023. We're live here at Love 105 FM every Sunday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team Remax Advantage Plus. Hope you're having a great weekend, a nice weekend. It is the last day in April. And throughout the show, you're welcome to join us, 612-294-6949. Questions, comments, thoughts. This is a real estate show. We've been on air for over 18 years now, talking about the current market from a real estate standpoint, a mortgage standpoint. Excited today in studio, Adam McIntyre Barn, the owner of Nordy Photography, joining us. Wonderful guy, a great company. And again, thank you for tuning in. Mike, Scott is down in sunny Arizona today, this weekend. But it's always a pleasure having you on, my friend.
Is he going to try to bring some of that sunshine and heat back up with him?
He should.
I mean, if he was a decent human being, he'd bring something back, right? At least something.
I talked to him, and he said it's like high 80s, low 90s down in Arizona. Tough living down there. Tough living, tough sledding, right?
We're well overdue for at least just 70s. I mean, I know we got that run where we're in the 80s there for a few days in a row. Just a teaser, but we're definitely due for just, get us some 70-degree weather.
Yeah, JoJo and I were talking a little bit before the show, and it's been a long winter here in Minnesota. It has been unusually long. So it'll be nice, especially for the real estate market too, Mike. It'll be nice. A little more sunshine helps buyers, sellers kind of get moving with their real estate, right?
It does. Yeah, it really does, actually. Like, again, it's like as soon as we're consistently in the 70s, it just seems like we get busier, right? Just when we want to spend more time outside and maybe spend more time on the boat, we get busier in our business. But we'll take it and we love it. That's what we do.
Before we dive into a mortgage update with Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans, again, if you go to MN Real Estate Show, we have a new feature on there, kind of a new tool that on the top row, it just says your home value. And if you're a current homeowner, maybe you're not looking to buy or sell in this market, it's a nice tool. It's kind of a journey where you can follow your home value over time. It is something kind of unique, and it's something that our team recently signed up for. It's really kind of a cool tool. So check out your home value. Again, you can enter that in there, and it updates over time. It's kind of a cool thing to check out. So again, if you go to MN Real Estate Show to see that. Mike, mortgage wise, what's cooking with you and your crew?
Rates is still pretty much top of mind, top topic when it comes to the mortgage side of things. They've been pretty steady. If you look over the last few weeks, they've been bouncing between, basically 6 and let's just say 6.5 to make it easy, right? So we've been in that little range, that little window there for several weeks now. What is it going to take to break out of that? and get down to where the norm is now, maybe 5.5 to 6 versus 6 to 6.5. May 10th is a big day. We think that's the day where that's going to happen. We're going to break lower and get into maybe the mid fives as the new norm.
Why May 10th?
There's inflation data that comes out. There's a big inflation report that comes out, and it's expected to be favorable for interest rates. The same type of report came out on November 10th of this last fall, and rates went down 0.5% in one day.
Wow.
So they're expecting that same thing to happen. And so hopefully it does, and gets us down into the mid fives. But for now, we're sitting in the low sixes for a 30-year fixed, which still, if you look over history,
Sure.
is not bad.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad indeed. Real estate wise, this first segment, again, we always like to dive deep just to take a look at an update here of what's going on in the Twin Cities. Adam and Mike, if we look at the overall market here in the Twin Cities, new listings, new homes for sale, comparing year over year, are down 13.4%. There were 1,321 new properties that came up for sale. The pending sales or accepted purchase agreements in our market still down very significantly, 37.7% less pending sales or accepted purchase agreements, 883. And then the inventory is still very, very low, historically low. However, year over year, it did increase slightly, 4% increase, 5,845. And the median sales price has actually remained very flat. It's at 335,000, comparing year over year. Mike, there was an article this week that I saw. Maybe you can, you can talk a little bit about this. But they were talking about the national median mortgage payment increased 1.6% from 2,093 to 2,061 in March. And this came out from the Mortgage Bankers Association. So basically it went up slightly. So they're talking about just some affordability challenges in markets. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, Scott spoke about this last week. It's like, look at the average income and how much that's gone up over the last, I mean, like 10 years. It's been not a whole lot. And then look at basically what a mortgage payment went from, if you compare, the COVID years where interest rates were ridiculously low and they had never gone that low before. And we probably won't ever see them go that low again. So it's a little tough to compare there to something that's just probably a one-time event ever in history. But how much mortgage payment has gone up since, let's just say, the January of even just 2 years ago, January of 2021 to January of 2023, with home prices and rates both going up.
Sure.
The income just hasn't followed it.
Yeah.
And so definitely affordability is one of those things that's a challenge. I will say that a lot of the folks that I work with now on their home buying, they're still very well qualified at the price range you're looking at, meaning that they can qualify for more and they're not pushing their debt to income ratio and things like that. So even though as a whole affordability for sure is one of those hot topics right now, but for those in the home buying mode, like those that are in the market, they don't seem to be in a spot where they're stretching themselves too much.
Now we got to ask our friend Adam McIntyre Barn. Random question for you, Adam. What do you think? What age group in the country is the largest share of buyers and sellers right now? Which generation? I'm putting you on the spot. He's like, thanks, Ryan.
It's got to be millennials, right?
That's interesting. That's what I thought. But baby boomers, if you can believe, right now, people age 58 to 76 now make up the largest share of buyers and sellers nationwide. This came out, the National Association of Realtors came out with a home buyers and sellers generational trends report here in 2023. They represent 53% of sellers and 39% of buyers. Millennials came in a close second, Adam, 28% of buyers. Thought that was interesting. Baby boomers, guys. Baby boomers are the largest group right now.
Do you know the population? Like, what's the number of baby boomers out there versus the number of millennials? Do you happen to know?
Maybe someone's watching or listening that knows those exact numbers. Someone's super smart. Adam, you have any ideas on that?
Is it they're downsizing? Is it baby boomers are finally starting to downsize. And
right?
I would
rebuy.
imagine
So
so.
obviously that makes,
Yeah.
makes them a big part of it. But
Are you thinking of downsizing?
no.
Or maybe
You're also not a baby boomer.
No, absolutely not.
maybe not downsizing, but maybe downsizing for sure is part of it, but maybe even just, getting into retirement. Like, we live up here in Minnesota, we're going to retire in Arizona.
Yeah.
So they're selling up here and they're moving, down there or somewhere different.
Yeah, some interesting numbers. Again, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Check out that link. Again, your home value right on mnrealestateshow.com. If you're a current homeowner, you're curious, you want to follow your home value over time, it's a new tool that we have on MN Real Estate Show for all of our longtime faithful listeners over 18 years with this show. But Mike, again, this affordability, I think your point is a good one, though. Rents are expensive. And so I think to your point, you said earlier that people are like, well, I'm either going to rent and pay $2,000 a month in rent, or I'm going to buy something and
Right.
pay $2,000 a month.
Right. Yeah. It still makes more sense to buy for sure across the board in most cases. Obviously there's certain situations there where, where renting might be the better way to go. If you're just moving into a new area and you're not familiar with it, maybe rent for a year, get your bases settled in and kind of figure out the neighborhoods you want to be in. Or maybe if you have a job where you might be moving city to city and traveling quite a bit for that, then maybe renting is a better option for you. But in most cases, if you just look at the economics, the straight numbers of it, purchasing for sure is still a smarter play than renting.
Yeah, very good stuff. Again, 612-294-6949. We had a comment on our social media. It says, how big is the baby boomer population in the U.S.? Baby boomers were the largest living adult population until 2019. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, U.S. boomers have remained the second largest population group in 2022, comprised of almost 70 million people, 58 to 76. There you go.
70 million.
70 million. That's a lot. It's a lot of people, a lot of potential buyers and sellers. We're already up against our first break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. After the break, we're going to continue taking your questions, 612-294-6949. We're going to dive in with Adam McIntyre Barn of Nordy Photography, talking a little bit about marketing, presentation. And you know what, Adam? We love your Irish accent.
I'll try to turn it up.
Hey, and this is the real deal. This is not like an O'Neill that grew up in New Prague. That even though our ancestors, we're from Ireland. I mean, you're the real deal. Bud.
Yeah, you have a more Irish name than I do.
Yeah.
So
I do.
Mine's definitely Scottish.
Yeah, it is good stuff. Hey, 612-294-6949 is how you can join us at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend's going well. Check out mnrealestateshow.com, your home value. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Sometimes, quick note for social media. Sometimes we can see your name in the comments if you have the Restream app. Sometimes we can't. So if we ever don't call out your name, that's why it's not intentional at all. But sometimes we can say that. So I appreciate you sharing the charts here too, population charts as well. A lot of good stuff. Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. Adam, you were saying, interesting, most people were asking in the real estate business, down, mortgage, title, real estate agents, real estate brokers, industry down, down, down. Adam, I asked you before the show, you are up. What are you doing? What's going on? How is Nordy Photography up?
I think we have a really unique value proposition. Just, we're priced aggressively. We give a lot of value to our clients. It's still, even though we are, we're growing, but it's still very personal. And
Yeah.
if you call, we pick up the phone. If you text us, we'll text you back quickly. And
Yeah.
we've got great systems in place, and great team development.
So talk a little bit about just from the presentation. We have a lot of fellow agents, brokers, that listen to the show, tune in occasionally to the show. A lot of friends at the different companies. Talk a little bit about what you're doing, how you're helping agents in the Twin Cities.
Yeah. So one of the main things is how easy it is to schedule with us. You can call, you can go on our website, you can download our app. There's a million ways to schedule. One of the nice things about what we do is if we say we're going to be there at a certain time, we
Yeah.
actually show up at, like, you can book a 1 p.m. or you can
Yeah.
book a 10 a.m. It's not like a, arrival window of like between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m.,
Sure.
which is the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
And you're waiting all day.
yeah, and we've invested a lot in our technology kind of behind the scenes. So like even our booking system actually calculates the drive time using Google Maps historic data.
Mm.
So it knows if you're going from Egan to Shakopee in the afternoon, the 494 is going to be awful. So it'll build in more drive time for our clients. But
Mm.
yeah, and we
You're a sharp cookie. You probably had a lot of people tell you that over the. This guy's running quite an impressive business. I love it though. I love seeing it. We met through some email marketing that he does. Does a really nice job sending it out to agents, brokers. I'm like, wow, they really had a good value proposition. You got a great team, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, our team are, in our emails, they've definitely got a lot better now that I don't actually create them. Now that Kyla is working on them, she's delivering like actual value in our emails and our
Yeah.
social media, and we want people to have a reason to actually open them.
What in this market for agents? What are some tips or some thoughts for listeners, for agents in this current market? Things that people should be aware of.
I think it's really important that I personally think it's important that agents partner with a photography company.
Yeah.
I think it's really great when you're in front of your sellers to be like, hey, we have this great company, we have this great partner, be it us or be it another company, but just like partner up and kind of have that familiar relationship. And also, if you need listing presentation materials to like showcase what the listing will look like, reach out to us, reach out to whoever you're working with, and ask them and be like, hey, I need stuff to show people in my listing presentation. Show me what a floor plan looks like. Show me what a Matterport looks like. Show me what a virtual staging or a virtual twilight looks like. So
That's cool.
I think just partner up with somebody that actually wants to work with you.
Yeah, here we go. We're going back live on Love 105 FM. Hey, good morning, and thanks for joining us here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show, 612-294-6949. We always welcome your calls, questions, thoughts, texts. We got Mike Overson in studio, Illuminate Home Loans. We have Adam McIntyre Barn, Nordy Photography. And again, every Sunday morning, we're here taking your questions, comments, thoughts, whether it is live on Love 105 FM or on social media. Mike, again, a lot going on in the mortgage world right now. Are you seeing, are companies seeing a pretty large contraction of people getting out of the industry? What are the numbers? What are we seeing in that sense?
Yeah, I for sure there are people getting out of the industry. Absolutely. There's still, companies across the country here that are, laying people off at all levels, right? There's loan officers leaving the game. There's processors that they just don't have enough workforce. They got to get rid of processors. They got to get rid of loan assistants. I mean, you name it across the board. There's still people that are exiting the industry. It's probably going to continue to happen probably throughout this year, just because we do expect, overall sales to kind of stay, par for the course here for the rest of the year. So,
Right.
Actual numbers, I don't know actual numbers of how many are exiting, but it's certainly happening.
Yeah, again, we got a couple callers here. Don't hesitate to try us, 612-294-6949. Always welcome your thoughts. Adam, it is interesting. We were talking a little bit before the break. We've got some fellow agents, teams, brokers that have listened to our show over the years. You've really built up a nice company, nice business, working with a lot of folks. Compared to everybody else that's contracting, it sounds like you're expanding Nordy Photography. You got a lot. You're going into other states. You're doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and we've just expanded in Minnesota. So we just brought somebody on in Duluth. So we're now in Duluth. We cover everything up to Ely, out to actually Morris, believe it or not,
yeah,
Alexandria, all that area, right down to Rochester and kind of beyond. So
Do you ever get to Laverne? You ever get out to Laverne there?
I don't know where Laverne is.
So Laverne is my hometown, small little town in Minnesota. It's 20 miles from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay.
So way out there.
Gotcha.
You can do it, Adam. Let's talk about expansion after the
Let's
show.
talk about Laverne, the big market of Laverne.
I mean, are you okay with that? I
Yes.
mean, all right.
That's a sound business decision, I'm sure.
No, it is good. It is good. And I think again, as I mentioned, Adam and I met through his email marketing. Nordy Photography provides professional photos for sellers in our market to present that property in the best manner possible. What I love what you guys do is you're honest about your presentation with the photos. But again, it is important that first showing, we always say, is online. So with your home, the first showing nowadays, if it's again, you're doing a coming soon, maybe it's not active right away, you give people a few days to see your property before they go in. People are looking online, they're looking at the photos, they're looking at the virtual tour, and you need a professional to present that in the best way. We all love our Androids or iPhones and think we're great photographers, but there is an art form to what you guys do. But I love, again, you provide honest presentation of the property. It's not overinflated,
Yeah.
or different angles or different things that can upset buyers. It's honest.
Exactly. And I think that with our team in particular, that just comes from a lot of training and development. We have a huge. My entire winter was spent building out our learning platform for our photographers. So when we onboard them, they actually have to go through like this 2-week training course, and then they spend another week shadowing our current photographers.
Yeah.
And one of the big things for us that's different is we use a lot of companies will just use all contractors.
Mm.
So our photographers are actually full-time salaried employees.
So they're working for Nordy,
Yep,
for
they
you.
they just work for us. They, we look after them really well. They get PTO, they get benefits. We give them company cars. We pay for all their equipment. So in terms of,
Do you have any openings?
Yeah, right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
do you just really want to drive a Prius? But I think that is, that's kind of one of the things. Like our customers really get to know our photographers kind of throughout, the entire year, throughout all our listings. They're like, hey, Stefan's coming or Tiffany's coming to shoot your house, and like
Yeah.
they know exactly who that is, and there's just this like rapport already built. And I think it's similar to like the mortgage industry, because agents and teams want to partner up with mortgage partners,
Yeah.
and they really want to work with people they trust. And I think it's
right.
exactly the same thing in photography. And yeah, I think it's an online beauty contest.
Yeah.
That is what it is. And
Yeah.
even if, I don't know about you, but when I meet somebody for the first time professionally, one of the first things I tend to do is Google them just to kind of see what pops
Sure.
up. And obviously with like Zillow, Realtor.com, you can see past listings, and I click into that and I kind of look at the, what agents have listed properties before, what their photos look like, because
Sure.
that kind of tells us a lot about where they're at. And sometimes they're great, and sometimes they're from their iPhone, and that's but that's fine. Everybody's kind of.
Have you ever met an agent for the first time and been like, so I did look at some of your previous listings, and trust me, yes, you do need help. Like,
We have a little bit of finesse.
You do have finesse. He's got finesse. Hey, we got a caller here. Again, 612-294-6949. Let's go to our caller. Thank you for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. How can we best help? Hi, good morning. Thanks for calling the Minnesota Real Estate Show. How can we best help? Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening to the show. Question for all of our social media too was the new mortgage rule, Mike, that's in place affecting with credit scores. We talked quite a bit last week about it, but tell people what's going on with that. How does that affect our listeners?
Yeah, it's loan level pricing adjustments is what got changed. So the easiest way I explain it is this. Well, the number one thing to remember is a higher credit score borrower is still going to get a better interest rate than a lower credit score borrower. So even though the headlines make it sound like lower credit score borrowers are going to get a better rate, that's definitely not the case. You still want to strive for the highest credit score possible, because that will get you a lower rate than people with lower credit scores. So,
So that's the important piece.
that's the important
better
piece.
credit will get a better
You'll still get a better interest
rate. Okay.
Yep.
However,
So think of it like this. Let's say everyone starts at a base rate, and these numbers are just pulled out of a hat here just to, for demonstration purposes. These are not the actual numbers. Okay. But let's just say the base rate starts at 5%. Now you have adjustments to that base rate based on your credit score, for example. So let's say a person with an 800 credit score, the rate goes up a quarter. So now that person's at 5.25 for their rate. But a person with a 680 score goes up 3/4, let's say, right? So your one's at 5.75 now, and the other one's at 5.25. So that would be like the old adjustment.
okay.
Now, under the new rules, that person with an 800 credit score, maybe that person goes up, to 5.375,
Okay.
and the 680 score only goes up to 5.5, right? So the adjustment for the higher credit score borrower is increasing, but the adjustment for the lower credit score borrower is decreasing. But nonetheless, the higher credit score still has the better rate.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
So it seems like there's a lot of people unhappy about this, understandably so. Help me understand why are they doing this? I guess I'm kind of a simple person.
The goal is to expand home ownership, right?
Okay.
And so typically what happens with lower credit score borrowers is it's more expensive to get in because interest rates are higher, because interest rates are really a risk, right? It's a rating of risk
Sure.
of your possibility of going into default. So the lower the credit score, the higher risk of going into default on that loan. So what they're trying to do is just even the playing field a little bit, and make interest rates and affordability better for those with lower credit scores.
So again, we've done this show a long time. I've been in the industry since 2001. So I've seen a lot of ups and downs and good markets and bad markets and short sales and bank owned inventory and 40,000 homes for sale in the Twin Cities and everything in between. So as you talk about this, I mean, I'm all for home ownership, expanding home ownership. I want everybody to get a fair shot at it. However, I've also lived, like literally personally lived, the heartache that comes from the short sales, the foreclosures, the people losing their homes because they were not really a home buyer. In
Right.
other words, everybody was pushing them buy, but through whatever reason, maybe they had a health issue, maybe they had something going on in their life that caused them to have poorer credit. Okay, they were not able to purchase it, or they still purchased. And to me, this just, I don't know, I just don't feel good about this. I just don't think that it just doesn't sound good in any way to me.
I don't necessarily agree with it either, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So it does feel like for the people with the higher credit scores, the people that have made it a point to make payments on time and don't carry high balances on credit cards, all that stuff that would be considered good habits that raise your credit score. Are they getting punished? I mean, punish isn't the right word, right? But why should those people basically have to have adjustments made where they pay more to help with
Sure.
the other buckets?
So before the break here, if you're getting a mortgage in this market, will you notice this? Is there another fee on the statement you see? How will people know that this is happening?
It's all buried in the rate already. And to be honest with you, this came out back in February.
Okay.
Every lender in the country already had these adjustments made in all of their pricing back in February, because it was supposed to go into effect on April 1st.
I see.
But it got pushed then to May 1st. And so when the government makes a change like this, it's not when your loan closes or when you lock. It's the date that everyone goes off of is when that loan gets delivered to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Sure.
So any loans delivered to Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac starting on May 1st has to have these rate adjustments built into it. And so everyone threw it in the hat into their pricing sheets basically back in February, because those loans that start back in February are closing, late April, in May, and then that's when the loan goes to Fannie and Freddie.
Halfway point of the Minnesota Real Estate Show, 612-294-6949. Check out MN Real Estate Show. On the top bar, there's a new tab called Your Home Value. If you are a current homeowner, you want to just know what your home is worth, It's a new tool that we have that actually reacts to the market and keeps you updated over time. It's super cool. I'm excited about it. Again, just click on your home value. You can enter in your address. It's pretty easy. And again, if you're not looking to sell, buy, no big deal. It's just a nice way, a courtesy, something we're offering for our listeners here. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us here this weekend. Hope your weekend's going well. Again, Adam McIntyre Barn here, Mike Overson, Luminate Home Loans. A lot to talk about. People were really upset. Sorry, Mike.
So yeah, so I was going to ask Adam, right? Because Adam's not living it day by day as far as mortgage guys and real estate guys that live this every day. You're a part of the process, but not like that process. Did you see the headlines of what we're talking about with these rate adjustments?
I actually didn't.
You didn't? Okay.
Yeah.
I've had my head buried in
Okay.
for the last few weeks.
I just want to get curious of what the general public just when they see that, when they read this, what are they thinking?
Question is, will this loan adjustment fee be on all loans? No programs available that do not mandate it? Question mark.
I mean, that's a great question. So this is for conventional loans only.
So conventional only.
Does not spread to FHA, does not go to VA, does not go to USDA, does not go to jumbos.
Okay.
So
And
conventional.
why
loans
conventional only? I don't understand that.
Well, because this is a Fannie and Freddie rule.
Okay.
FHFA is what it's called. That's the umbrella that basically runs Fannie and Freddie.
Okay.
So they only have control over Fannie and Freddie stuff, and so that's why it's only conventional loans here. A change that FHA made earlier this year was that they actually reduced the cost of mortgage insurance. So FHA loans got more affordable earlier this year because the PMI on FHA loans actually got lowered for this year, which is good. So yeah, so the conventional loans, obviously adjustments, depending on what bucket you're in, it might have been better for you, might be worse for you. FHA across the board got better this year. So
playing devil's advocate a little bit, you hear sometimes from a customer in this kind of market when there's only 6,000 homes for sale, Adam, people will say, well, either I don't need a realtor or I don't need professional photography because there's only 6,000 homes for sale. The house is going to sell, Adam. How do you respond to that? Any thoughts to share when if a customer has that feeling?
You need both. You absolutely need both.
Why photography?
So I wish I had the stats in my head. But
Sure.
Listings that have professional photography sell generally quicker and for more. And obviously working with a realtor and professional photos is absolutely the best way to go because they can advise you the best on price and get your home ready for photos, which is actually a really important step of the realtor and the listing process is how are they helping you prep the photos? Are they, a lot of them are really good with design and can walk in and be like, okay, declutter a little bit, but that's something that's very, very important. Is how the agent preps the seller.
Sure.
For the photos.
Yes.
And
what if you come to the and I'm sure this happens a lot, you show up for the photos and everything is maybe they're a hoarder. What do you do?
It's our job to make it look as good as we can.
Will you take those photos?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Has
that happened?
Yes.
Can you the term Photoshop it out? Can you can take that and you can kind of make it, smooth it over?
So there's a apartment company we do quite a bit of work for. So we go in and we'll take photos of them kind of as is. So as soon as the tenant gives notice that they're going to leave, we'll go in and shoot it. Sometimes they're great, and sometimes the tenant just won't get off the couch. And there'll be boxes literally piled to the ceiling.
Wow.
We'll go in, our team can digitally remove all of that and then restage it. Obviously, advertising rentals is different to transactions or properties going to MLS because there's more rules with the MLS. So obviously you have to disclose if you're doing that on the MLS. But I think it's good to show people what the property could be.
Sure.
If they've got some funny paint colors, we can change that. I think
we're going back live on air, Love 105 FM. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Hope your weekend's going well. It is April 30th. Soon into May, hopefully some warmer weather soon. Here we go. Thanks for tuning in. Good morning, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope your weekend's going well. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., talking all things real estate, mortgage, a lot going on in our market. We shared market conditions in the first segment with, again, overall pending sales in our market down pretty significantly, almost a 40% drop in accepted purchase agreements year over year, less activity for real estate agents, real estate brokers, mortgage, title, everyone in the really everyone in the industry from a transactional standpoint. One text we had in between the break, and I think drives home a good point. The text was referring to the kind of the extra effort their agent went through to find them a house in this market. And I think, and one thing we forget, guys, is that the MLS is just a cooperative platform all agents, brokers are able to view properties on. But a really good buyer's agent is going to go out and shake the trees to find you a property. It could involve sending letters to homeowners, to neighborhoods, it could involve door knocking. It could involve searching tax records, going to sheriff sales. I mean, there's all kinds of different approaches. We at the Minnesota Real Estate Team use all of the above. And by the way, we've got a great agent on our team. Wherever you're listening to the show or watching the show, within a few hours of the Twin Cities, really all over Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. Mike, that's important though. You need somebody aggressive to shake the trees because you can't just wait and hope something happens.
Yeah. And that's the number one, probably concern of sellers now is, okay, yeah, selling is, it's probably going to be pretty quick and predictable with the current inventory levels and then where the market's at. But what's it going to look like in my next move, my next house? What does that look like? And that's the biggest concern is like, it's great. I know I can sell my house, and fairly quickly, and that's predictable, but I don't know where I'm going to go. Like, what does that look like?
Right.
And so being able to not only find that house, but then structure that deal so that the timing works for you. So hopefully you don't have to like live in interim housing between the sale of your current house and the purchase of your next house, being able to line up the closing dates so that you move right from one to the other. There's an art form and a craft for sure of doing that. And that's where an experienced agent comes into play.
Yeah, I do want to mention Steve McDonald with Remax Advantage Plus, the Minnesota Real Estate Team. Adam and Mike, he's got a really nice listing in Bloomington, West Bloomington, 9232 Yukon Avenue South. And it is a single family walkout rambler. It's got over 3,500 square feet, 4-bed, 3-bath, 3-car garage. It's a very private 3/4 acre wooded lot, fenced backyard, 3-season porch. And Steve says it's got a great lower level space for a private gym or theater room. This one is priced at $685,000. Be sure to check this out. 9232 Yukon Avenue South in Bloomington. Very nice listing. Shows well. Adam, we were talking about presentation online. You said it's an online beauty contest. It's true.
Yeah, it really is. You got to interrupt somebody. They've had dinner, they're sitting on their couch watching TV, and they're flicking through whatever app they use to look for homes. And we are attracted to the ones that are going to look the best, that have the blue sky, that are nice and bright and even, and showcase the space
right
properly. So you can, you're not like, oh, what's the layout of this house? Oh, you know what it is because there's good photos of it.
What percent of the listings now or the work that you do are just professional photos versus a tour? These virtual tours, the Matterport tours. What are you seeing out there? What percent does just photos? How many always have that tour? You can walk through the house.
Yeah.
What are you seeing?
I would say it's probably like 70-30. 70%, I don't mean to say just photos, but photos and floor plans are probably our most common order these days. Home buyers love floor plans.
Okay.
They want to understand the layout. They want to see, okay, this is a 4-bedroom house, but is it 2 bedrooms upstairs and 2 bedrooms in the basement? Or
so floor plan where they can walk it too?
No, just where they can like literally like a black and white
Just see it.
print. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's great to help people understand the flow of a house. To be
Sure.
like, is this going to work for your family? You know,
Sure.
if you got kids or something, you know, you don't want half of them sleeping in the basement and
Sure.
everybody else is 2 stories up.
That's
So-
what Mike did as a kid.
Yep.
Actually, they kept him in a real dark room.
Yeah.
Alone. He had some social skills, some issues as he got older through high school. But you know, Mike, you're reacting. You're coming along very nicely.
Yep. It was either that or I had to, share a room with one of my 3 older sisters that I grew up with, and I'm certainly not going to do that. So put me in the dark room in the basement. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I do wonder though. Again, it seems like there are a lot of these walkthroughs with the Matterports. How spendy is that? Any thoughts on that? Do you need that as a home seller?
you know, I'm slightly biased,
Sure.
but I think it's a great tool.
Yeah.
The home that my wife and I bought 2 years ago had it, and we kind of, we bought in June of 2021. We pretty much pre-qualified the house. It was a crazy time in the markets.
Sure.
We had an inspector come to the first showing with us because we were like, this is going to be the house. We knew it, and the Matterport definitely helped us qualify it. I think it depends on the home. If you can't hide anything in a Matterport,
Yeah.
so if there's things that are maybe not as desirable or things that need work, or it's maybe not the best thing to do. But,
Sure.
And they're, $300 will get photos, floor plans, and a Matterport.
Sure.
But we are seeing a lot of videos are not coming back. It's just videos happening.
Sure.
And particularly like the Instagram reels.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, as somebody that doesn't use social media,
Yeah.
it baffles me. But yeah, it's cool. Video is huge.
You made a comment earlier of if there's a certain paint color in there, you could change the paint color so people can see what it looks like. It gets me going down a rabbit hole, right? Do you have people that reach out to you to say, I can't envision what this thing would look like the way I want it? Will you guys meet with people to say, okay, here's the room, what color do you want to see the paint on? What color do you want to see the carpet as? And like put that stuff together so they can visualize like what it could look like?
As a standalone, it's certainly something we can do. And it's funny because right now, at my wife and I's house, we're knocking down our front retaining wall. That's kind of gross. And we couldn't agree on the design. So I had my team, I told them, we're like, okay, take out this chain link, put in a cedar fence here, and we completely rendered out what we wanted it to look like. So we could actually agree on the design for the front of our house.
Yeah.
I do that personally all the time.
Cool.
But yeah, we can totally do it.
And sorry to interrupt. We just had another question that came in. This is actually a very relevant one. Kim had texted in asking about waiving home inspections in this market. And her question really was about how can she protect herself as a buyer if you're not doing a home inspection right now. It's a really good question, Kim. I think a couple things, what a lot of the home inspectors now are offering, and again, our partners at mnrealestateshow.com do this. We've got 3 wonderful longtime inspectors with us. They're doing often what they call these walk and talk inspections. So during the home showing itself, you have the home inspector there that's walking through the home, talking, finding any big ticket items that could be problematic for you. When you're waiving a home inspection in Minnesota, it can be problematic. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Now, again, there's a lot of ways a good agent is going to help protect you as a consumer. But just know, again, without a home inspection contingency, that can create problems, Mike.
It can, yeah. And it's scary for a home buyer, especially a first-time home buyer. That's scary to be like, hey, I'm buying this house and I don't have a trained eye looking at all the stuff. Very, very big hurdle to cross if you're going to go, if you're going to make that decision to go, without an inspection contingency on your offer, which definitely makes your offer stronger to the seller. But yeah, definitely scary.
Yeah, final break here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us. Check out our new tool at mnrealestateshow.com. In the top row, you can click on your home value. It's a tool that kind of follows your home's value and journey over time. Maybe you're not thinking about selling, but you just want to know, hey, where's my value at in this current market? And it updates over time. It's a pretty neat system that we have. Don't hesitate to check that out. Again, it just says your home value on the top of MN Real Estate Show. We'll be back after the break. Thanks for joining us. Love 105 FM, the Minnesota Real Estate Show, every Sunday. Again, talking to Adam McIntyre Barn, Mike Overson. Mike, I know you said you thought interest rates would go down to 5.5 potentially this year.
Yeah,
That would be nice.
it would be great, and it could be as soon as mid-May here. We'll see what happens. I was reading a report the other day that they're saying what's it going to take to we're roughly 40% down, right, in transactions year over year. So what's it going to take to kind of get us back to more of a normal amount of transactions?
Sure.
A lot of people are saying that 5.5% interest rate, if rates get to there and that's the new norm and they hold steady there, like that would be the spark that gets us back to normal, if you will.
Yeah.
Whether that's actually going to happen or not, who knows? But it's kind of funny that that's the number that they came up with. So and hopefully, like again, we might be there mid-May.
So May 10th, you said?
May 10th is that report. Yeah. So
And what if the report is not great?
well, then hold on to your hat there. Brian.
Who's putting this report out?
Yeah, it's it was I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's
It's a government agency.
yeah, it's not a housing report. It's shelter. They call it a shelter report,
Okay.
and I'm not exactly sure who it comes from and stuff. But that's the same one back on November 10th that came out that caused rates to go down 0.5% one day. So hopefully it happens again.
Adam, who from your family is back in Ireland?
My dad.
Your dad?
Yeah, that's it.
Do you get back to visit him much?
I like to get back like twice a year if I can.
Yeah.
It just depends what's going on, but
Where in Ireland does he live?
so he works in Dublin, but he lives in the north.
Yeah.
So just outside Belfast.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And is that where you grew up?
Yeah, so I grew up just outside Belfast.
Okay. What town?
Banbridge.
Banbridge.
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
BAN and then Bridge.
Banbridge.
It's named after the River Ban runs through the town. So
Oh,
it's got a
Banbridge.
bridge
Okay.
over it. So
Banbridge. And
very creative people.
what do you think about taking the Minnesota Real Estate Show to Ireland?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's book the tickets. Let's go.
Yeah,
All for that.
do it live over there. I mean, we did the state fair.
Jojo, you up
now
for
we'll
it?
Go to Ireland.
Yeah, JoJo's nodding her head. She's like, yeah, I don't know about more of this real estate talk, but she would like to go to Ireland. That'd be fun, right?
That would be very cool.
What do you think?
Tour
I
some
mean,
Irish properties.
Yeah, tour some Irish, yeah. Right?
That'd be great.
So are there companies like yours in Ireland?
Yes, but not at the scale. So, buyer representation isn't a thing in Ireland. There's
Okay.
no MLS. There's no licensing requirement for agents.
The Irish. You gotta love the Irish.
So, but like, yeah, it's
No
very
licensing
different.
world,
requirement. Here we go. We're going back live on air at the final segment here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Hope your weekend's going well. Here we go. Welcome back to the final segment here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. 612-294-6949. That's a number you can call throughout the week at any time. You can call that number. You can text that number. We are a local real estate team. We help buyers, sellers, investors, really anybody with questions in any respect in this current marketplace that we're in. Many of our agents have been doing this a long time. And again, we work all over Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. We'd be honored to help you and your family at any point. Mike Overson in studio, our friends at Luminate Home Loans. It's great, Mike. You guys, again, you work with everybody all across the board. I saw an email come through last night looking for a Spanish-speaking loan officer. You and your team got it dialed in. Anything it seems like we need financing-wise, you guys step it up.
We certainly try to, right, have kind of all bases covered. And the nice thing about us having a bank backbone is that we have a lot of like bank type of products, mortgage products, right? So we do construction loans in-house, and we have portfolio loans. So portfolio loan is, where you got a borrower that doesn't fit inside the box of FHA or VA or one of the conventional loans out there. but they're a good borrower, right? They got good credit. They make their payments on time. They got down payment. It's just they don't fit in the box for some reason. Now we can have our bank do a loan for them and just hold that loan in our bank versus following the guidelines of, like I said, FHA or conventional loans. So, yeah, we got a lot of stuff out there, and we try to make sure we can try to help as many people as we can.
Growing up in New Prague, I know the importance of working with a really good bank, a really good local bank, especially for real estate investors that may be listening to the show. You need somebody that not everything always fits right in the box, Mike. And I think that's a really good point, what you just described. You guys became a bank, was it last year?
2021 is when we basically took over the existing bank. We bought the existing bank that was there. We took it over in January of 2021, and then have grown it and basically put our own spin on it, if you will, since then.
Yeah, again, an important thing to consider. If you are a buyer, you're losing in a lot of multiple offers. Be sure to talk to your agent. Check the mortgage firm that you're working with as well. Some sellers, some listing agents have preferences for different lenders. Some they maybe like and some they don't like. And that there's a human aspect to the offering process when you're buying real estate, where that listing agent, that seller, they're talking, they're discussing. So it's important. It is important. And a lot of times people just think, well, hey, I got a letter from Frank Rizzo Lending. Isn't that the same thing as a lender from another, or a letter from another place? And in the real life of buying and selling real estate, it's not, and that's hard for buyers to understand, Adam.
Yeah, I remember when my wife and I were buying our house. As a self-employed person, the mortgage process I thought it was going to be really difficult.
Yeah,
and it wasn't. And the lender that we used was, they got it done, and they had a good reputation, and unfortunately it wasn't Luminate. But
was it like a local?
It was a local company,
yeah.
yeah.
See, yeah, it wasn't ABC Mortgage out of
No,
Kansas
they
City or
were
something.
they're pretty big and respected, and they did a good job. And
yeah,
it makes a difference for sure.
Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. As you're heading into the spring market, the summer market again, as we touched on in the first segment, historically low inventory levels. As Scott always likes to say, this is the second best seller's market that he's seen since he's done this in the late 90s. I would agree. It is a very, very solid seller's market. There are tools out there for you as a seller where, again, you can make your home sale contingent on you finding a suitable home of your choice. So in other words, I think a fear point for some sellers is, well, I don't want to put our home on the market. What if it sells within a week? Where do we move to? Well, there are ways that, again, you can be in the driver's seat as the seller and make that decision to make a contingent upon finding a home of your choice prior to anything moving forward with you having to sell your house. Guys, we're seeing more of that, where sellers making a contingent on them finding a home of their choice. So buyers have to be patient.
And buyers in today's world will be flexible with you on close date. I guarantee those buyers agents are coaching their buyers to say, look, a lot of sellers these days, it might not be the highest price that wins the deal. It might not be the most amount of earnest money. It might not be waiving your inspection. It might be being flexible on closing date, because that's the seller's biggest concern of their next move. So if you can be flexible with them on the closing date when you purchase their house, that could very well get you the deal right there.
Thomas had commented, just said he keeps losing on multiple offers, even though he's a cash buyer. What gives? Cash is great. I mean, a lot of sellers really like cash. However, again, that's one of about 20 different things, really. Maybe not that many, maybe 10 really big picture things, 10 smaller ones with each offer that the seller is looking at. Financing versus cash is one aspect. Again, I don't know, Thomas, if you're making an offer 10% under list price or 20% under list price or whatever. People like cash, but again, if you have a really good local lender like Mike and a higher price, they're going to take Mike's offer.
Yeah. So it's, cash is great. Like you said, that in a pecking order, they're going to look at cash offers first, and then they're typically going to look at conventional financed offers after that, and then FHA and VA after that. So cash offer, you will get looked at first, but what are the other terms? Like you said, you might be offering under list price, where a finance offer might be going over list price. And the seller's like, well, I can't ignore that money, right? I can't ignore that. So I'm going to take this finance offer over here.
Mike, can a FHA buyer submit an offer with showing conventional financing? I had this question over the past couple of weeks.
Well, can they? Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Should they?
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Can they legally do it? I mean, I don't. And this might be more a better question for you, but can you legally have someone that only qualifies for FHA make a conventional offer in a house? I'm sure that's against ethics all across the board, right?
You're right.
And sellers, as soon as a seller would find out that you were an FHA buyer, you made a conventional offer just to get your offer accepted, and you're going to do an FHA loan,
Not good.
that's going to be a bad day.
Yeah, again, it was a question. It is a really good. Mike's answer is spot on. You have to be 100% honest on the type of financing you're doing for the agents involved, for most importantly, the seller involved. They want to know what you're doing. You're getting a loan. What kind of loan? What are the terms? So it's very important. To
How
be
about
honest.
this one? How about down payment assistance, Ryan? Do you have to disclose, or in the part of the offer, do you have to say that if you're getting down payment assistance, that you are doing down payment assistance?
Absolutely. Super important. Again, you need to know that. The agents need to know. The seller needs to know if you're getting down payment assistance. As consumers, don't ever let just it's got to be totally honest and straightforward, the offer. It can be problems. I've seen it over the years, being on both sides of the transaction, where that can be a problem, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Adam, last thoughts. You are doing a wonderful job. Nordy Photography. We love the Minnesota real estate team. Loves working with Adam, his awesome team. Last thoughts for listeners today, Adam.
I think as you're talking about, sellers wanting to sell their home but not knowing where they're going to go. We've seen a lot of agents getting the photos obviously quite far ahead of time. So when they do find the house that they're ready to buy, that they have the photos ready to go live and they can do that quickly. Also, you've seen what photos look like today.
Yeah.
In the last couple of weeks, it's been brown and gross outside. And I think if you're planning to sell even next year, make sure you get somebody to take nice summer photos of your house. Because I definitely think that pops on a listing, even in January or whatever. Show your backyard, show your deck, hire a professional company. And if you don't, just make sure your family aren't eating dinner at the dining table on the deck when you take the photo, because you can't use that.
Straight from Ireland. Best way for people to reach out to you and Nordy.
Our website is nordyphoto.com. You can also download our app on the Android and Apple app stores.
Yeah.
And you can also give us a call on 612-440-0558, and that goes to Emily, who works in our Minneapolis office, and she'll be more than happy to help you. You can also text that number if that's more convenient. Or reach out to us on social media.
Great job, buddy.
Thank you.
Love having you on. Mike, last thoughts?
Hey, it's a great time to buy. We're a local lender here, looking to help everyone we can. So feel free to reach out to us. Just go to mnrealestateshow.com to find us.
Yeah, thank you again to everybody tuning in. It's been a fun show. Hope your weekend is going well. It's the last one in April. We'll be back again next Sunday. Just remember, throughout the week, if you check out MN Real Estate Show, click on your home value. Nice way to get an idea as a current homeowner what your home value is. And it's a tool that updates over time as well with market conditions. Thanks for joining us, everybody. This has been the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks, friends on social media. It's been a fun one. Love having our friend from Ireland, Adam. You need to come on more.
I think the show from Ireland we should definitely work on that.
Let's do it.
I think we can line that up. Yeah, I think we can make that happen.
Let's do it. Hey, it's been a fun show. We'll be back again next weekend, everybody. Hope you all have a nice week ahead. Thanks for tuning in to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Any questions or thoughts, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. Take care, everybody.